Live from Studio B, welcome to Rotor Talk Live, your weekly home for the latest consumer drone news, rumors, reviews, and tips. Since 2017, we've helped drone fans stay on top of what's rumored, what's flying, new specs, features, updates, and expert analysis. Hosted by Bill the Drone Reviewer and co-hosted by Ron Brown from Drone Nation, we keep you up to date on everything in the consumer drone space.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Rotor Talk Live, Season 9, Episode 24 DJI fights back against the FCC. Hope everyone is well tonight. There may have been some lagging there with the stream for the intro, so apologize about that. Just got a full house here tonight. Let's see who we got in. USA Drone Flyer Joe. Dales is here. Carlos Moran. Michael Wright. Art is here. Welcome. Let's see who else we got. Sergeant Rock, welcome, my friend. Gator Drone here. Let's see who else we got. Greg Pittman, welcome, Greg. Let's see who else we got. Joshua here, welcome. Koopy, welcome, Koopy. John Flynn, welcome. Great show last night at Drone Nation, John. You did great. And some great stuff. So, fantastic. Well done. Well done. Super good. Welcome. Thank you guys for stopping by. Actually got a lot to talk about tonight, believe it or not. It's kind of crazy, incredible. Last week, if you didn't know, we celebrated our 9th anniversary last week. 9th birthday is what I called it, and I had my little intro and my special. I know Ron called that out last night. I just wanted to remind everybody what it was. We turned 9 last week. It was last Tuesday we turned 9. Yeah, been doing this for 9 years, and we're just going to keep going because we're having fun. Fun's not stopping anytime soon, so just to let you know that. Also, too, I want to let people know one thing. You know, I've been getting 99% of the comments and that I get either by email or to the videos and everything. You guys hit home runs all the time, and they're very thoughtful, very insightful, complimentary as always. Of course, there's that 1%, and you know I've had some had a few the past couple of weeks are just but one of them was well, why do you keep talking about DJI? And I'm like, well, you know what, DJI is the game in town for consumer drones, all right, and until they fold up and Earth swallows them up, we're gonna still talk about them, and we still enjoy them, we still fly them, and I know you guys feel the same way too. That's why you guys show up week in and week out, and for me, I thank you. I know Ron thanks you. And I know, the crew at Drone Nation thanks you. I know Johnny and Ray and their shows, they thank you. Bill Thomas as well. We all thank you guys for showing up. So we really appreciate it. Just want to call that out real special to you guys because you guys are absolutely rock. You're fantastic. So, got a lot to talk about and camera-wise, and there's a drone on sale, and we're just going to kind of dive into a few things. Now, the first thing that I want to call your attention to, and you probably have seen that, and I've posted this in every group, and let's see. Yeah, okay. Let's go ahead and share this here. All right. I have drones for sale. I have several. I did sell my DJI RC Pro 2. That's been sold. And I currently have right now a Neo 2. It's the drone only plus one battery for $175. You can't beat that. The DJI Air 3S with the RC N3 controller and one battery, $775. These are all brand new, sealed in the box here. DJI Mini 5 Pro with the DJI RC N3 controller and one battery, $650 plus shipping. And the DJI Flip with the RC2 controller plus one battery is $650 plus shipping. All of those are absolutely crazy, absolutely insane prices. They're priced to sell. They're here in the United States. You don't have to worry about shipping or customs or any of that getting through customs. They're all here. They're going to ship from Florida. I ship them USPS ground because they're the only ones that do it with the lithium-ion batteries. UPS does not do that. So just to let you know. And I take PayPal, and the information's on there. And there's any inquiry, send them to billthedronereviewer@gmail.com. It's real simple. I use PayPal straight up. I mean, it's not. There's no eBay involved, so nobody's getting a big cut or a take or anything. And you guys are getting a fantastic deal. My my priorities have changed with some of my projects, and this is why these are available for sale. Again, these are all brand new. They will not last. I can tell you with these kind of prices, they will not last. So if you're interested, email me at billthedronereviewer@gmail.com. And usually I have a day turnaround. You purchase it one day, it will be in the mail the next morning. So just to let you guys know that. And it's a very seamless, and I get them fully insured because I use Pirate Ship, and they have full insurance on it, unlike USPS, and they have their own, and it's a much better insurance than USPS offers. So just to let you guys know that. So that's off the top. I wanted to go ahead and do that. Those are some great deals, and if you know of anybody that's looking for one of those drones, those are some absolutely kicker deals with that. Just absolutely fantastic. So again, email me at billthedronereviewer@gmail.com. We'll get you handled. We'll get you taken care of. It will be packed super well. I guarantee you that. That's something I always receive compliments on. So there you go. And it's out there. It's posted on the page, and I have it pinned up there so you could see it as well too. So Danny Kennedy, welcome. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping by tonight. Danny, that's right. I wish. Wow. Don't we wish, Danny? Don't we absolutely wish that? Okay. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Well, as I said, there's a DJI drone that's on sale right now, and it's an absolute crazy price. It's their lowest priced drone. All right. And what is it? DJI's cheapest drone is even cheaper right now. Okay. It's the Neo, and it's 135 grams, which is absolutely insane. It's $169, down from $199. Now, this is for the Neo 1. I'm selling the Neo 2 for $165 here, guys. So that kind of puts things into perspective for you. Just to let you know that's an incredible, absolutely, positively incredible deal. Just to let you know. So, but yeah, right now it's $169. If you want to look at the Neo Flymore combo with the RCN3 controller, that's at $295 instead of $349. If you want to look at it with a Flymore combo, normally $529, it's at $449. So there are some great deals on the original Neo. Just if you want to get them, jump on them because those are fantastic deals. But in all honesty, that Neo 2 deal, that really is very sweet considering the price and what you're getting on that. So just to let you guys know. So, all right. By the way, if you guys haven't had LaCroix, you need to have it. It's fantastic. I absolutely love it. Oh, I am going on week 2. Yeah, week 2. No, I think it's week 3. I'm going on week 3. I haven't had a Coca-Cola at home. All right. Period. I've had them out while we've gone to dinner and stuff, but I haven't had them at home. I've been drinking a lot of lemon. I've been drinking lemonade, but one of the things that I have been doing, is using not having things with high fructose corn syrup in it, because that's not, cane sugar is much better. So just to let you know, but this is no sugar, no calories. It's fantastic. I really like it. It sure does, John. It really does. I love it. I absolutely love it. It has a good taste to it, and it fills me up, and I feel very satisfied with it. Okay. Let's go to the next one here. Okay. All right. Now, this is actually, a lot of people commented about this when this first happened, and I wanted to go ahead and share this here because I thought, we really had talked about this before. DJI Avata 360 versus Avata 2, which drone should you buy? It's a great article here, but one of the things, and we brought this up when we brought it up, we really discussed it, that these are two completely different drones, okay? Absolutely. The Avata 2 was made in a completely different mindset than the Avata 360. I mean, the 360 is intended for 360 photography, okay? The Avata 2, well, it's intended to be used with goggles, have some fun, use that controller, motion controller. Yeah, it's just, It's just a completely different kind of ballgame. Now, of course, all these articles are posted out on Bill the Drone Reviewer Facebook group. I didn't have time to get them out on the page today. But, it talks about what the Avata shoots AK360, which we all know of. It lists the Avata 2 bundles. You can get one, the lower price one for $619. You can get one 3 batteries, RC Motion 3, DJI goggles 3 for $1,019 after discount. Avata 360 bundles, Avata 360 with the RC2 for $719. Avata 360 Flymore combo $979. Avata 360 Flymore combo with 3 batteries, goggles, RC Motion 3, 2-year warranty, and several accessories for $1,399. Okay, but beyond the price point, what happens after you press record? Okay, and why creators obsessed with the Avata 360? You can create horizontal YouTube videos. You can create vertical TikTok videos. You can reframe footage for Instagram Reels. You can create impossible camera moves after the flight. You can track subjects even if they're temporarily leave the frame. Yeah, it's the Avata 360 is really something. This is a great article. I'm going to let you guys read this at your leisure. But the bottom line is, these are 2 different drones, and they're intended have different intentions for different audiences. Ron, how are you, sir?
Good, Bill. How are you tonight?
Good. Just talking about an article that was comparing the Avata 2 and the Avata 360, and I know this was something we had talked back several weeks ago about. Yeah, these were 2 different drones. That DJI should have named the Avata 360 differently, because just using the word Avata conjures up the Avata 1 and the Avata 2.
I guess just putting those inducted, props in, that makes it kind of look like the Avatas. I guess they thought that was a natural to call it an Avata, but you're right. It's almost, the 360 drone, it's almost its own form of drone, not even related to the camera drones or the FPV drones.
Exactly. And I think it's I'm glad that they put this article out, because a lot of people got really confused, Ron, because they thought when the Avata 360 came out, it's going to do everything the Avata 2 does. Nope. And now remember, initially there were reports.
Yeah, you're right, Bill. You're right, Bill. A lot of people thought this was the Avata 3. They thought they were going to fly manual FPV with it.
Exactly, and I think they said something early on. The beta testers had that function, but DJI was afraid of that lens cracking all the time, so they took it out, which made sense. I mean, that really did make sense, and how they market it now is great, but this was one where they kind of dropped the ball as far as the naming was concerned for this.
Bill, I want to bring up a topic we talked about. I was still in Florida when the Avata 360 came out. Remember, I don't know who was in chat, but remember a lot of people in the chat were insisting that the Avata 360 would work with the DJI RC2 Pro controller. Mm-hmm. And they said that DJI even said it or whatever. And I said I was still skeptical that we'd look back on that to see how many weeks. Well, I don't know how many weeks that is now, but I'm going to say that's we're going sometime in late March, early April. I mean, we got 10, 12 weeks under our belt, Bill, and guess what? No compatibility with the RC Pro 2. So I mean, never say never, Bill. I mean, they could do it tomorrow, but I don't think it was ever in their intention to make this device compatible with the RC2 Pro, or it would have happened by now.
You may be right. You may be right on that score, Ron. But and I gotta think maybe unless they get some pressure from us, the consumers out there, and saying, when are you going to do this? When are you going to do this? If they keep getting a lot of that, and this is my suggestion, if you're a fan of wanting to get that done, email support@dji.com. That's all it takes is to do something like that, to get a hold of them.
And if they're going to do that, they might as well throw in the Neo 2 and all the other OcuSync 04 drones.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which is again both the Neo. Both the Neos 1 and 2. What else? The Flip. There's a whole bunch of OcuSync 4 drones out there that could have been. But you're right. This isn't really an FPV drone, even though you can fly with goggles. But Bill, remember how DJI at one point they were letting a lot of drones fly with goggles, like the Mini 4 Pro and the Air 3, and now they pulled back on all that on the latest versions, and they kind of hold the goggles off. The only drones that have those protective props on.
Right. Absolutely.
Like
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Yeah.
both every Avata and and the Neo. Wait a minute, yeah, the both the Neos work with the goggles and the
Hmm.
motion control. So
Yeah.
they kind of
Exactly.
only let that work with a drone with protective propellers now. And I don't think
Exactly.
that's by accident. I think that's that was by design.
Oh, I agree 100%, Ron. That is absolutely spot on. We're going to start with talking about DJI right now at this point. And the first thing that I want to do is yesterday was kind of a I mean, it came through, but didn't have a lot of fanfare that it normally would have because this was only a China release right now. And this is for the Osmo Pocket 4P. Goes official with 2 cameras, 17 stops, 103 gigabyte body. U.S. buyers still cannot touch. Okay, and this article was out on Drone XL. 2 cameras, 2 different sensors, and we know everything that's on here right now. And one of the things that I can say after seeing this and seeing some of the reviews out there is the quality of the footage on here, Ron, is legendary. I mean, it's what you expect from DJI. Okay, it really is. And Drone XL's take, they talk about the open question is not about the camera, it's about the 9 circuit DJI's covered list appeal at the gate that determines whether any of this reaches American hands. And the Pentagon has cited classified intelligence in opposition to DJI's petition. We got something to talk about later with that. But, with this being said, all right, in conjunction with this, we're going to spend some time on some cameras here because we're going to go ahead and talk about something else here. All right.
Before we get too far off of that, Bill, I've watched a couple comparisons between the Luna Ultra and the Pocket 4 Pro. Now, these have been non-English channels have done these, but you know what? I don't hate to be a DJI fanboy, but the Pocket 4 Pro video does look a little better in majority of the clips. Now, I realize that the Ultra has more features. It's a more feature-rich drone. It has a head tracking thing, and it can do everything. But I think the Pocket 4 Pro look better. And by the leaked prices, it looks like the Pocket 4 Pro is going to be considerably less money too.
Well, and you said it well last night, and I'm trying to remember because I watched Drone Nation. I wasn't commenting in the stream, but I watched it, and I think you said it well. I think it was either you or Marcus. I'm not 100% sure. Said you could have all these incredible features, but in the end, if it doesn't shoot good video, what's it to you?
Yeah, let's make no mistake about it. I'm not saying the Ultra doesn't shoot good video. I mean, it does shoot good video. It's just that the Pocket 4 Pro looks a little better. You know what I mean? This isn't like a matter of something not being good. This is 1A and 1B or whatever. These are the top.
Right.
It's just, Pocket 4 may look a little better and maybe a little cheaper.
And I think in light of what you said and everything, okay. And I think people really kind of need to take this into account and not jump on something like this, all right? And that's one of the things that I want to caution everybody with something like this. I think Insta360, I think they may have kind of like got this out a little sooner than they wanted to because of the Pocket 4 Pro coming out. That's just a guess. That's just a theory on my part, number one. And number two, I said, it's going to be available at Best Buy, readily available here in the United States. No problem in being able to secure one of these. It's
already number one on Amazon the day it came out on small cameras.
Yeah, and I think the thing that you need to kind of sit back and take a look at here with this is the value for the dollar and what you're getting. I mean, you're getting a lot of features on this, but as Ron said, at the end of the day, do you want a camera or a pocket camera in this instance? Do you want the highest quality video for that? Or do you want to have all the bells, incredible bells and whistles with this? And already it's come out that the Pocket 4 Pro will cost less than the Luna Ultra. I mean, that's just that's just pure math. This is what we've seen over in China. Of course, we don't have the exact U.S. dollar.
Right, and we would have to pay resellers price so they could sell for anything they wanted to. But
right. Yeah. Now I did see Kelly Shores had one. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I did see him post that. Yeah.
I did. I did see that today here.
And of course, we'll be in the U.S. We'll be waiting for the extra Muse versions of the Pockets.
Yes. Now in here it talks. And I'll let you read this article at your leisure It talks about the specifications and everything, but I think also, with this, I mean, and it has great specs, okay? The Luna Ultra does have great specs. I will not argue that point at all. But one of the things that I do want to say, and I do want to caution everybody, is you take a look at the price and you compare that against, against DJI. Now, DJI is in their 4th iteration of a pocket camera, and Insta360 is in their 1st iteration of this, okay? And I think you kind of got to take that into account as well too.
Right. The Luna, just the bare bones Luna, it starts at 769. So 769 is your lowest buy on that camera.
Right. Now, what I'll say is this, and then I want to switch. We're still going to continue this discussion right here, and I want to flip over. There's another article that I want to talk about with this. And these are all in the same subject matter here. Okay.
Eddie's saying Luna is the better camera. Eddie, I'm basing all my thoughts off of seeing people in China do comparisons of whatever. So I'm definitely Bill. What do you call? I'm an armchair quarterback here.
Exactly. Okay. DJI versus Insta360. The Creator Tech Cold War is officially over. Meaning it's in full bloom. And
yeah, sue you blues as far as the lawsuits flying back and forth.
Yeah, let's get in court here. And DJI filed a lawsuit against Insta360. So Insta360 says, you know what, we're gonna match that. We're gonna sue you as well too. So here we go.
Yeah, actually, Insta360's got up. I think DJI put 2 lawsuits. Insta360 responded with 5 lawsuits. So the bill, as usual, the lawyers are getting rich.
Yeah, that's exactly what's happening here. And of course, this is over in China, and we don't have any clue as to how the Chinese legal system works right here.
You get yourself a good Chinese lawyer, huh?
Yeah, really. Legal battle arrives at a particularly interesting moment in the U.S. market. DJI remains the world's dominant drone manufacturer and one of the most influential creator tech companies on the planet. Yet in the United States, the company continues to face political scrutiny, customs-related challenges, and ongoing debates surrounding its inclusion on the FCC's covered list. Meanwhile, Insta360 has spent the past several years aggressively expanding across America. Its products are now sold through major retailers like Best Buy, Costco, Amazon, Apple stores, and B&H Photo. The company has broadened its portfolio, deepened its Leica partnership, and increasingly positioned itself as an alternative to both GoPro and DJI. The Luna Ultra represented perhaps the clearest sign yet of those ambitions, and now almost immediately it's become the center of a 4-lawsuit patent war. The courts will ultimately decide which claim holds up, but one thing is already clear: the battle between DJI and Insta360 is no longer about drones versus 360 cameras. It's about two giants, it's about who gets to become the default ecosystem for creators. And judging by the legal firepower now being deployed, neither company plans to surrender that future without a fight. So there is.
Now, Bill, we know in the past these lawsuits this is going for years, right? This is anything that's going to be decided next week.
Remember DJI and Autel, the lawsuit that they had, and how long that dragged out, and how that got settled out of court and everything. And this is probably what's going to happen in this. Is it's probably going to get settled out of court, is what I think is going to happen as far as that's concerned. But we don't know as far as what's going to happen here. As far as Best Buy has started to sell drones again at MSRP with extended warranty, Total Tech. They even have the Mavic 4 Pro, the RC Pro 2. Wow, Eddie, thank you for that. That's some interesting news. We don't know what's going to happen from all this until the dust settles, okay? And especially, and I think the one thing I think we need to kind of take stock of as well too is the Pocket 4 Pro availability. And I think one of the things that you should do as a consumer right now, we're not telling you what to do, but something I think that you should do in order to is to go out there and compare these videos. Compare the videos. Be especially mindful of the videos that compare the Luna Ultra with the Pocket 4 Pro, and look at the footage from both. I know it's not the easiest thing to see that on YouTube, and I understand that. But if all things being, if they're both shooting in 4K 60, for example, all right, the footage should be relatively kind of the same and stable, okay? And one of the things that I'll say as well too, Ron, is the more options you add to something, okay, the more complicated you make something like that to use. For example, and I'll give you a ham radio example, okay. There are the two big players with ham radio, Yaesu and ICOM, all right? ICOM generally has very simple menus, very easy to follow, very easy to understand. Yaesu, on the other hand, they have very complex menus. They go very deep, and you got to basically have a cheat sheet whenever you're using your radio, as far as something like that's concerned. And one of the things I see with the Insta360 Luna Ultra is you probably got to have a cheat sheet out for a while with all the features and capabilities and bells and whistles on it to really kind of get that to use. Not knocking the features at all. I'm just saying there's going to be a learning curve with something like that. Versus the Pocket 4 Pro, I think the learning curve, especially for previous Pocket owners, is going to be a lot less.
Yeah, good point, Bill. I think the killer feature for the Luna is that the whole front screen detaches with all the controls, has a built-in microphone. That's definitely a home run over what DJI has to offer. That detachable front where you have all the buttons, you can control everything from within 20 meters or something like that. So that's a big win for them. How well that's going to work and hold up over time, we don't know, but I know all the early reviewers are really tickled with it, and they make a big deal about talking about it. But I mean,
I know.
It's something to have a streamlined interface. And again, Bill, have you seen this comparison? One of the reasons I think DJI put the lawsuits, if you look at the software, the interface, how you use the Luna, it looks like almost a carbon copy of DJI's interface. In other words, if you knew how to run the Pocket, you're not going to have too much of time flipping around the menus in the Luna, and that's probably why these lawsuits came out. They're not only copying the look of the hardware, but they're copying the look of the software.
Wow. And see,
I don't know anything about copyright laws. I don't know, I mean, everything kind of looks the same, somewhat or whatever, but I don't know how far you have to go before you violate copyright on something like that.
Well, and I'll kind of throw this out here too. Okay. You talk about the graphical user interface, GUI is how they talk about it in computer language. Okay.
Right.
Now you can mimic a GUI from one to another, but that doesn't necessarily mean you've stolen their patent. Okay. For example, and I'll give you an example. Okay. On my Florida Panthers channel. All right. And I've completely changed things up because my Facebook page got taken down, which is no real big deal, but they said that it was too close to the actual logo from the Florida Panthers. So I completely changed things up on there, okay? And there'll be no question of that, all right? But let's say Insta360 copied DJI's menu system on there. They could easily come back and say right away, they said, you know what? That is a patent infringement. That is a copyright infringement. This is something DJI has patented, and it's on the books. And no, you can't do that. You have to come up with a new system because it looks too much like DJI's kind of a thing. I mean,
you remember the big lawsuit? Yeah, remember when the iPhone first came out, and then Samsung had an Android phone out a year later, and it looked just like the iPhone's software, and a big lawsuit. That thing went out for years. But the funny thing, by the time the lawsuit got settled, the Android no longer looked like the iPhone, but it did right when the lawsuit was filed, though. Even though 5 years later it had changed, but it did look like it when it came out. So of course, I think the same thing. They eventually settled out of court because you had two titans. Both those companies have so many lawyers working for them that thing could have gone on for forever.
Yeah,
I remember.
I agree with that.
Steve Jobs even said he said it was going to be global nuclear war or whatever over that lawsuit, but they finally finished. Hey, Bill, you brought up your Florida Panthers hockey for a minute. Before we forget, I do want to say congratulations to the Carolina Hurricanes, who won the series on Saturday night. What was the 3-0 victory over the Vegas Knights to take the series 4 of the 2 games, and this like old-fashioned hockey, Bill. Goaltending became a big point, so much of a big point that the Carolina goaltender was given the MVP award. And I found out he's even a rookie on top of all that. So here's a rookie goaltender gets the MVP in the Stanley Cup.
Well, did you want to hear the real strange thing? Okay, he was a Florida Panther last year. They let him go. They let him go on waivers. Okay?
No.
Oh yeah, they let him go on waivers.
Wow.
Now, okay. One of the things, he really didn't play in the NHL much until like the past couple of months. Okay, so it was really was his first real in-game experience. And you know what? You can get lucky with things like that. Real quick sidebar: Andrei Vasilevsky, the goaltender for the Tampa Bay Lightning, he came in because their main goaltender was hurt back in 2017, and he didn't look back. And it's the same thing with like Lou Gehrig. Okay, Lou Gehrig came in and when he substituted for somebody, and look how many games he played in a row. So
Wally Pipp, Wally Pipp, poor guy lost his job.
Well, with Boosie, which is his name, I'm very happy for him. Okay, I think he played very well. But you know, just because
you're right. That they talked about that for years. A goaltender can get real hot and all of a sudden, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to stay hot.
You know, because I then I see them get cold. So yeah, we can talk about that ad nauseum another time.
Yeah, but you can still ride a hot goaltender in the playoffs, though, right?
Right. Absolutely. I've seen that happen before. So, the next thing that I want to talk about
back to drones, guys. Sorry to disrail.
Back to drone talk. We're this is Sports Center Tuesday night edition here. Rotor Talk Sports Center. Anyway, all right. Now the next thing I want to talk about, which I thought this was absolutely incredible, and it says a lot to me. And this article came out today, and I was so pleased when I saw it and I read it. DJI presents FCC with report finding no drone security threats, okay? DJI has taken its campaign against the FCC drone restrictions directly to the agency's leadership, formally submitting an independent cybersecurity assessment that found no evidence supporting many of the security concerns long cited against the company. DJI discussed the findings of the extensive security assessment conducted by U.S.-based cybersecurity firm OnDefend and provided the report to agency staff. The filing makes the latest development in what has become one of the most consequential regulatory battles in the history of the United States drone industry. While the FCC continues reviewing DJI's challenge to its placement on the covered list, the agency is simultaneously facing growing criticism from drone operators, public safety organizations, businesses, and hobbyists who argue the restrictions are harming American users without publicly presenting technical evidence. Okay, in the filing, DJI highlighted OnDefend's conclusion that a 5-month examination of the DJI Air 3S and Matrice 4 ecosystems identified no evidence of hidden backdoors, no data transmissions outside the United States, and no viable pathways for hijacking or weaponizing. DJI noted that it initially did not believe an ex parte filing was necessary, but agreed to submit the report at the request of the FCC staff. Okay, according to the report, investigators found no evidence of hidden backdoors or unauthorized remote access mechanisms, no evidence that tested DJI applications transmitted data outside the United States, no viable pathways for hijacking or weaponizing the tested systems, no unexplained radio frequency emissions, no signs of supply chain tampering or unauthorized hardware modifications, zero critical, high, or medium risk vulnerabilities during testing. The report did identify several low-risk findings and observations, but OnDefend concluded that none represented a realistic threat to safe operations or widespread data exposure. DJI has said mitigation measures are already underway. A debate that extends beyond cybersecurity. FCC faces mounting backlash, and I'll let you guys read. So what happens next? DJI's decision to personally present the report to the FCC officials signals that the company intends to keep pushing the case at every available level. The newly disclosed meeting with Chairman Carr's office demonstrates that the findings are now formally part of the FCC record as regulators continue evaluating DJI's petition. Whether the report ultimately changes the agency's position remains unclear. What is clear is that the battle has evolved far beyond a simple product review. DJI now has an independent U.S. cybersecurity assessment that found no evidence of backdoors, foreign data transmissions, or practical pathways for hijacking the tested systems. The FCC, meanwhile, continues to defend a policy rooted in broader national security concerns surrounding foreign-made drones. As the review moves forward, the central question may no longer be whether DJI's products can withstand technical scrutiny. The question increasingly appears to be whether cybersecurity findings alone are enough to overcome what concerns about supply chains, industrial strategy, and national security policy. Wow, that's a lot, Ron. But I'll tell you what, this was so good to see this. Okay, because I've mentioned this several times here on the show, and I've said, DJI is not going to take this lying down, and this is something that really they're finally putting their foot down. They're saying no, okay, and what a smart move to get this filed and to have it attached to the FCC to their findings right there. I think that was
it's on the record. In other words, yeah,
right.
Yeah.
It is on the record permanently for them, and that's just so good. And I was so excited when I saw this today because it's really kind of like the first glimmer of, I don't want to call it hope, but the first really positive sign that we have had in a long time regarding DJI. And it's something that the FCC can't ignore. It's something that the government cannot ignore, because this was the whole crux of the government's argument against DJI was it was a national security risk. And this showed beyond the shadow of a doubt that it is not a national security risk. And I think,
Bill, I'd like to see this report wind up on the desks of all members of the Congress, the Department of Defense, the FCC. It should be on everybody's desk.
Exactly. It should. Yeah, John. I understand that, but I think it was probably more for show than for anything else. But they're making a statement here, and they're making a statement loud and clear, and they're saying that they're not going to take it, sitting there with their hands folded or sipping their cup of coffee. They're going to push back on this, and I really like how they did this. They did this they used the framework, the legal framework. They filed it. They attached it on there as part of this. I mean, it's something that you absolutely, positively cannot ignore because it's out there. It's, because, Elise Stefanik, let's see, Rick Scott, all of them in Congress, they all said in national security. You kept hearing the two words, national security, over and over and over and over again. And, this just flies in the face of this national security argument. And they still have not, to this day, presented one shred of evidence on why this is a national security threat. Not one.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think it's going to be real. I'm aware of that, John.
Well, maybe we need to get rid of some people over the DoD, Bill.
Well, yeah, Department of War now. Excuse me.
Maybe a few people should get fired over there. Some of the people making this policy.
Well, this is politicking, and again, we don't like to get into politics here on the show, and I know Ron doesn't on Drone Nation, and Bill Thomas and everybody else. We just don't like to do that. But what we're saying is, this really kind of reeks here, and it's like that. My dad had a saying, day old fish left on the counter overnight. Okay. It's not going to smell real good the next day. And this is exactly what this is. I mean, it really, it's just bad. Okay. And it's just so blatantly obvious and out there about this. And, whether it's a combination of wanting to start, and you know what, Juan, here's one of the things that I'm going to say. All right. You would have thought by now, okay, with all these actions, okay, really, DJI have literally cooling its heels here in the United States and not being allowed to sell new products going forward, that some American companies would have jumped in to fill that gap, okay, that they would have started maybe some manufacturing one or two drones to go in and say, not, say along the lines of a Mini 4 Pro, Mini 5 Pro, that kind of a thing, just getting started up and going full bore on something like that. But no, we don't see anything like that. All right, nothing like that has happened. And even as far as enterprise level drones, okay, there really hasn't been a lot going on regarding that as well too. So it really, it's just really, it's
you're right, Bill. Should be one police force is flying these new American-made drone enterprise drones or whatever. Maybe one department that has them.
Well, I'll say this:
it's a lot of investment going into these startup drone companies, but very little very low output. The money's all going in, but nothing's coming out.
Yeah, there's a lot of money going in, and we're not seeing, we're not seeing any results from that. Okay, Charles, I'm going to try something with that. Hang on a second here.
Hey, Sergeant Rock.
I increased my gain here, Charles. So maybe let me know if that sounds better. I tried.
You didn't see that low to me, Bill. You didn't see that, so I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of messed around.
Bill, I'm hearing a slight echo though, and I don't have any other device on in the room here, so I don't think it's me. Yeah, I hear the echo right now. Again, I don't have another computer, iPod, nothing else is on in this room here except for this screen here, so it shouldn't be me creating the echo.
Oh wow! Thanks for sharing that, Mark. Appreciate it.
RC12 eBay brand new, 120. Oh wow!
So with all this being said, there's a lot. There's there's something going on here, and it's more than meets the eye because everybody talked about they're investing in these startup drone companies here, but we're not seeing anything being produced by them, and it's kind of like just a stalemate here, and we still, Ron, we really still don't know what's really going on here, to be honest with you. We really don't, because it's like, we move along here and enjoy the drones that we have, but we're kind of wondering about going forward what it's going to be like, and we really don't know right now. We really don't know.
Yeah, but I'll take the you're taking the glass half full. I mean half empty. I'll take it half full. Well, yeah, maybe we don't not getting these new drones, but if we can go in if we can go in Best Buy and buy a Mavic 4 Pro, whatever, we're not really hurting that much, Bill. I mean, we still have access to some of the most incredible drones, consumer drones ever: Mavic 4, Air 3s, Mini 5 Pro. I mean, those drones are still going to serve as well a couple of years down the road. And I don't know where I said this, but like right now, when the Air 4 comes out, yeah, we'll wish we could get it, and the Mini 6 or whatever, but we really won't. I mean, the drones have come out last couple of years, but have all been incremental upgrades. The one version is incrementally better than the one it replaces, but we're really going to wait like 2 generations down the road. Say when the Air 5 comes out, or the Mavic 6 comes out, or the Mini 5, 6 or 7 or whatever's coming out, they're the ones that we're really going to miss or whatever, because they're going to be
right. That's a really good point, Ron.
What we have now to make us really feel like we're missing out.
Right, and you really kind of hit the nail on the head, because incrementally, when you're going from say like the Mavic 3 to the Mavic 4, okay, it was a kind of a leap. I mean, it was with different body style and design and everything, but it wasn't well, let me put it to you this way: going from say like a Mavic 2 to a Mavic 4, okay, that's a big leap. All right.
Yeah.
Going from the original mini drone to like the Mini 5 Pro or the Mini 4 Pro was a leap.
Giant leap. Yeah.
Right. So I think what you said makes a lot of sense as far as that's concerned, because I think you're right. As far as like this year is concerned, as far as drones are concerned, we may see that Air 3 or Air 4, Air 4S, and it'll be improved, but it's not going to be one of these ones that's going to be earth shattering. And you'll see the same thing. You'll see a Mini 6 Pro. Again, it won't be earth shattering, but it will be some type of incremental improvement as far as that's concerned. So, what's coming down the pipe for this year, we probably won't see a lot in terms of, things getting picked up as far as capabilities are concerned and performance is concerned. Because I think you'll probably get a longer run time, maybe a little better obstacle avoidance. They'll tweak the cameras a little bit. Range may be a little bit better. They may come out with an OcuSync 5. These are all nice things, but what we have right now on the Mini 5 Pro, on the Air 3S, on the Mavic 4 Pro, they all, and then and the other drones, they all work well. They all work very well, and there's really not an issue with that. So Ron's right. We're not going to miss this. What's probably going to come out later this year. And the
Avata 360 was probably the only brand new drone model that kind of didn't exist before they came out. I don't think DJI is going to release another new model like the Avata 360 anytime soon. A year before they see a drone that doesn't exist now.
Right, and that's a good that's a real good point as far
Yeah.
as that's concerned. That
Right.
really makes a lot of sense. So
And you know, that first generation, like the Neo 2 was a big improvement over the Neo 1. But that's because the Neo 1 was the first generation. Once you get past that, those they are not incremental upgrades. From Gen 1 to Gen 2 is usually a substantial upgrade. But after you get to Gen 2 of a product, from there on out, usually the one generation forward is usually an incremental upgrade after that first big jump from the first one.
exactly, and you could see it was kind of an incremental, like when you talk about the original Mavic Pro, and then you go to the Mavic Pro 2. Okay, I'll still call it incremental, even though that they came out with 2 drones that year. The Zoom and the Mavic Pro. And then, but I think the real jump was when, if you look at the original Mavic Pro and then you jump to the Mavic Pro 3, that was a real jump, okay? And,
well, I mean, even the 1 to 2 may have not been a jump anyway, except the cameras. You went from that kind of small sensor on the original Mavic 1 to a 1-inch sensor. So the camera was the gigantic leap from the Mavic 1 to the Mavic 2. Remember, we got the Hasselblad
that's
camera
interesting.
for the first time, and
that's very interesting, Danny. Wow, I haven't had that issue with that, so that's real interesting. Hopefully, maybe you sent that footage to DJI support, and maybe they can kind of help you with that as far as that's concerned. So, but no, I think the point is, and I think what Ron and I are trying to say is, and I saw somebody else had really kind of nailed it. We really don't scratch the surface a lot of times on all the capabilities of the drones that we have, because they move so fast, through the ecosystem. DJI is always looking to upgrade, 8 months down the road, 9 months down the road, 10 months down the road, and we really haven't scratched the surface of things, and then we're on to the next product, okay? And I think one of the things that we need to do, this will give us time to really fully appreciate things like the Mavic 4 Pro. Because I know a lot of you guys last night were talking about getting the electronic filters that Evelyn now has available for the Mavic 4 Pro, which I think is fantastic. And it really, I'm real anxious to see how that works. I mean, I have an idea how it works, but I really want to see.
Yeah, unfortunately, you didn't get to see Tanya Gale. She had it at the meetup or whatever, and she tried it out for the very first time because she kind of didn't know what it was and was scared to use it. And she put on that day and it performed flawlessly for her. So,
wow, and I think that's something, again, being able to upgrade things like that and having the ability to buy these accessories and fantastic. It's Evelyn, being able to buy them off of Evelyn, who is fantastic, and I always highly encourage you as far as accessories are concerned. Evelyn's going to have probably some of the best prices out there. So that's where I would go to look for things like batteries and props and things like this electronic filter set.
This ND filter, electronic ND filter, it was never officially sold by DJI. So this isn't a product you could buy from DJI themselves.
Yeah, this was
never on the market. The only reason we know about it, they sent to all the reviewers that got the drone, but then they didn't release it when the drone came out. The weight is heavier than a regular ND filter, and people fear that'll make the camera sag down if you lower the gimbal.
Okay, Mark, I'm going to try adjusting my gain.
Tanya didn't seem to have that trouble at the meetup.
I adjusted my gain a little bit, Mark. Hopefully that may help, because I'm not getting any feedback at all whatsoever.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. I didn't hear it there, so maybe you got it, Bill.
Okay.
I have 2 RC.
Oh wow, Danny.
And 2 Air. The same thing. Danny, I don't always fly my Air 3S with the RC Pro controller too, but I don't remember seeing that issue of stuttering with the Pro controller with the Air 3S. But I will check. I will look closer the next time I fly that combination.
That's interesting. That's an interesting thing, Danny, that you're having that issue. So maybe that's something DJI really needs to take a good look at and maybe come out with a firmware update on. So I think that would be a good thing here. But I think the bottom line with all this being said and everything that we're talking about is, the old saying comes up again: enjoy what you have. And this is what we're saying: enjoy what you have. If you need to, get extra batteries, get extra props, so you can continue to enjoy them for a long time. Okay, because we don't know how long the storm's going to be as far as being able to get replace these eventually down the road. We don't know that. So that's why I encourage you to get batteries, get props, whatever, anything else that you need. Those lens protectors, the lens replacement kits, like for the Avata 360, which I bought 2 of them off of Evelyn for. So, that's good to go. I don't have any problem as far as that's concerned. So, do these things and enjoy them and have fun. I mean, now's the time. Summer's here. Summer's fully in bloom. And we're now at the point here in Florida, Ron, that you need to get out. If you want to fly your drone, you have to get out before 9 a.m. in the morning, or you probably need to go out after 5 or 6 at night, because between that time, between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m., forget it. You will get burned to a crisp out there. The UV rays are really high at that point in time, and it's just sweltering. I mean, well, it's like I'll go out for a walk, and one of the things that I've learned is I need to start walking before 7 a.m. in the morning, because even after 7 a.m. in the morning, it starts to really heat up, and the humidity starts to really rise up at that point. So I try to get out well before 7 in the morning, get a walk in. That way it's just not oppressing, because if I leave after 7, it's oppressive. I mean, already it's 7 a.m. in the morning. And then you look at your car.
That bad. Technically, it's not summer until Monday.
That's true. That's very true. But we just heard from our weather forecaster here that we're not going to see, the high is going to be in the 90s now through probably the middle of October. Okay, every single day it's going to be in the 90s here at least until October, and that's just part of life here too. But combined, one of the other things that you find out that you don't really have, like living up north, not having that rain that we don't have, and it being dry, and the chances of wildfires happening down here are a lot greater. So you got to be very mindful of that as well too. So I mean, it's a different ball game down here in Florida than living up north. That's for sure. As far as
we had some 9-degree days last weekend, but then all of a sudden Monday we got what we call relief up here. All of a sudden it went back to the 70s again. So now Bill, it was a little chilly today. I saw people with their hoodies and stuff back on again. So wow. we get relief. You don't.
No, we don't. We won't get relief until probably about mid to late October, when it'll get down into the 80s. And then when that happens, when that point hits, like around the 3rd or 4th week of October and starting in November, the humidity dissipates, and it's one of the best times. One of the best times of the year is like October, November, December around here, and maybe sometimes into January, because the cooler weather is here and the oppressive heat.
And you're getting much less sun that time of year, so the sun doesn't heat you up.
The sun doesn't heat us up. The humidity is down. It's going out for walks then. I love going out for walks then, because it's so much easier to do that. You don't come in looking like you've had a shower when you need to get a shower. I mean, it's just kind of the way things are as far as that's concerned. So, any closing thoughts for tonight, Ron?
Just that. Well, we already covered the Carolina. Congrats to the Carolina Hurricanes. Hey, Bill, I want to say Carolina Panthers. That's the football team. That's kind of funny. That they football, but the Carolina Hurricanes, great job. I saw Bob Dempsey was in the chat here. Sorry, Bob, but Bob, I think what was it? Bob will get the benefit. He made a bet with Rick Williamson on the show last week, and Rick's going to be sending Bob a Carolina Hurricanes baseball cap.
Oh wow! Okay.
Wow, Bob is going to send him a Golden Knights cap at the nice one, but yeah, back to Drone Lady. Well, you probably already got uncovered about the Atom 3 that they're still hoping to get FCC approval, but as of right now, if you go on a potential website, it says the Atom 3 is not sold in the U.S. So, do you think the Atom 3 stands any chance at all of getting that FCC approval that they're holding out for?
It might, Ron. You know, stranger things have happened as far as that's concerned. You know, and the thing that kind of blows me away is, you know, I know we talked about the Sky Rover last week, and it's actually much lower in price than we thought. I went out to their out to DJI's website and on Amazon. It's at a much more reasonable price. I think it's like $695, $700.
I think in the Flymore combo is under $800.
Right. And I think
The combo with a good controller.
With a good controller, I think that's pretty reasonable as far as.
And that's available. That's available at your local Best Buy.
You get it at your Best Buy or Amazon. It's out there. And, you know, and the thing that kind of, you know, how they let that in when it's been shown, you know, in a, you know, convoluted format linked to DJI, but yet things like Potensic Atom 3 can't get in here. You know, how they make those decisions, Ron's, I'm like, yeah, that,
yeah, like who doesn't know that? Who over at the FCC doesn't know the Extra Muse is a DJI clone camera? But they all get in.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, it's funny because I know, hey, Kestelou did some extensive research on that, you know, for some of these shell companies that DJI's had, and they show that Sky Rover is a shell company of DJI, and also Cogito. You know, the Specta, Specta Mini and Specta Air, you know, that's a shell company of DJI. So, you know, go figure all that. You know, who knows? Who absolutely knows? And I think, you know, one of the things, and I want to echo, Danny put up a great comment here, you know, and I'm going to kind of close with this. You know, stop worrying about every rumor and what might happen tomorrow. Get out there, fly safely, capture some great footage, and have fun with the drones already in your fleet. And Danny, you hit the nail on the head as far as that's concerned. You really did. That's what we need to do, is to get out there and enjoy. And I think one of the things, we want to make you aware of things that are going on, okay? We want to kind of like put whenever we hear some positive or encouraging things, like we did with DJI, with the FCC, that was a good thing. So we want to let you guys know about that, okay? But, you know, the bottom line is this. Get out there, enjoy your drones, have fun. The weather's nice right now, even though it's oppressively hot down here in Florida. Get out there, have fun. I mean, that's why we love this hobby so much. That's why we do what we do. I mean, as far as that's concerned. So, anything else, Ron?
That's it, Bill. Thanks everybody for joining us tonight in the chat, for all your comments and questions and support. Love you guys, and we'll see you. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, thank you guys so much as always, guys. It's a great day to fly. Take care. Have a great rest of your week.